Hello everyone, just me, Jeff Donnelly, jpdonnelly8.com, jpdonnelly8 Instagram, jpdonnelly8 Facebook, jpdonnelly8 a lot of places, YouTube, jpdonnelly8 YouTube. Okay, so who am I? Why should you listen to me about this case? Okay, well, I hold college degrees in psychology and criminal justice. I'm a graduate of the Massachusetts Department of Youth Services Training Academy, DYS. I used to work, for a time in law enforcement. Okay. But at the same time, I'm a victim of corruption in Massachusetts with the Massachusetts judicial system. Hampden County, the Hampden County District Attorney's Office, the Springfield PD, and a few other different, agencies and such in Western Mass. Okay, so yeah. So I've worked in the system, and I've been a victim of the system. And I'm also the author of this book right here, Raw Emotion and Political Repression, which is a journal detailing the corruption I faced when I was running for Congress as a 25-year-old. Oh, yeah. You want to see corruption? Run for Congress in Massachusetts as a 25-year-old Republican with a psychology degree who's also an artist. Oh, yeah. They really fucking love that. Big time. They took my education away from me, they took my career away from me, and they took everything away from me for doing that one. So, let's see. I worked in the system, and I've been a victim of the system. And Karen Reed claims that she's a victim of the system, which means that I should be 100% behind Karen Reed. And this is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you my theory of this case. Because remember something. We've heard Turtle Boys. We've heard Kate Peters. We've heard Kevin, Cottage Tales. We've heard The Glare. We've heard a lot of these people and their theories of this case. I've listened. Hell, I've been listening to Turtle Boy since the beginning. Since he started, actually. And with Turtle Boy, this case right here has been definitely not good for him. It got him attention, but at the same time, I believe that might end up with him going to prison. And right now, the Karen Reed defense, they want nothing to do with this guy at all. He is as far away from the case, from their side, as they, shit, man. If they could put him on the moon, they could put him on the moon just to keep him away. Okay, so given that, right? What is my theory of this case? First off, do I believe that she intentionally killed him? No. I don't think that Karen Reed intentionally killed John O'Keefe. Plain and simple. I believe it was a big, horrible, horrible accident. I'll tell you why. First off, what the defense has claimed. First off, they claim the dog attacked him. Hell, my father got attacked by our family dog twice. By his dog twice when I was younger. And that dog mauled him up. And these were not scratches. They were bites. They were puncture wounds. What you're looking at on John O'Keefe are abrasions. They're scratches. People say, oh, if he got hit, he fell into the grass. Dude, it's wintertime. It's not soft grass that you're falling into. And if you're being hit by a car, you're being hit by a car, and then you're also getting scratched while you're being dragged a little bit, all right? It's not the soft grass that you'd be falling into during the wintertime in New England. It's hard dirt. It's hard, plain and simple. And it's definitely not puncture wounds from a dog, because they're not going to just be on like an arm. They're going to be on a neck. They're going to be puncture wounds. Okay, so I don't even think they're going to mention the dog in the trial because it's so outlandish. But it's good for It's good for Turtle Boy. It's good for people to run with. Well, when it doesn't matter, when it's just to grab the public's attention, to get the public to pay attention to this. It's smart. But I don't think the defense is going to mention anything about the dog. Plus, there was no dog DNA found at all. The taillight? The taillight. It's winter. During the winter, plastics such as taillights get weaker. If you back up into something, a taillight can shatter, including a person. You know? So, this is what I believe happened. Everyone agrees that Karen Read and John O'Keefe were arguing that night. Karen Read admits that they were arguing. She says that they were arguing over her giving his niece and nephew something to eat or drink or whatever. But remember something. She claims that he was cheating on her. She was supposedly stepping out on him. He wanted to break up with her, and it was not a relationship in paradise, plain and simple. It was a relationship on the edge that was struggling. Supposedly, he tried to kick her out. She didn't want to leave, blah, 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 blah. And if you ever dated someone and you tried to kick them out, you tried to break up with them, some people just will not leave. Trust me, I dated a stalker before. Beautiful, beautiful redhead. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. Perfect face, perfect body. She was actually a model too. She modeled before all these Instagram models became a thing. Before everyone said they were a model, she was signed with an agency. Beautiful fucking redhead. Beautiful, I mean. But crazy, and just would not let me break up with her. Like, stalked me before asking me out even. I found that out later, but still. Let's get back to Karen Read, though. So, supposedly he tried to kick her out. Supposedly he tried to break up with her. Supposedly she wouldn't let him. She wouldn't go, supposedly. Okay. Hey, Karen Read, she's a looker. She's, 45 years old? And hey, she's a good-looking 45-year-old woman, plain and simple. Like, I wouldn't say no. She got those crazy eyes, though. You know, like, we got those voicemails she left, which were intense, but hey. I'm a single guy and I'm not that smart when it comes to women, plain and simple. I'd say yes to her. But yeah, like, so this is what I think happened, all right? She admits that she didn't want to go into the party, to the after party, okay? So, and remember, John O'Keefe knew these people. He wasn't a stranger to him. The homeowner was a veteran Boston police officer. John O'Keefe was a veteran Boston police officer. So obviously they knew each other. The owner's, the house's brother was like John O'Keefe's former neighbor. It's Canton. It's a small town. Everyone knows everyone. Anyone who lives in a small town knows that. For the most part, if you know one family member, you know a few others. And if you're working in the same industry, you happen to know other people as well. And so, he went to an after party. He was invited to an after party. He went to an after party. And remember something. The people who were at this after party knew John O'Keefe's niece. That's how Karen Read, got the phone number to call one of them. Because the niece. Okay. So, yes, they all knew each other. Plain and simple. So what happens? Karen Read gets into an argument with John O'Keefe. Okay. She doesn't want to go. He wants to go. She probably doesn't want to continue the party. She claims that she was hungry. Okay, so she probably wants food. He wants to continue to hang out with these people. So, they argue. He gets out of the vehicle. And she probably put it in reverse and gunned it. Because she was upset. She was throwing a temper tantrum. So what does she do? She puts the car in reverse, guns it into him. And I'll tell you this right now. I've dated girls that have thrown hissy fits and temper tantrums and were stone sober who would have done something like this. Sober. But we have Karen Reed who has, what, 7 or 9 drinks in her? People say, oh, like, this is her credit card bill. This is her credit card bill. No. They have it on camera in the bar, her drinking this much. Yes, the bar overserved this woman. But it's a neighborhood bar. There's a lot of police officers cutting. The local police show up there. The local police drink there. I've been a bartender. I've worked in a strip club. I've worked in regular bars. When you have regulars, especially local police, you don't shut them off. You let them drink. Just like how he left with a drink in his hand. You let them leave with a drink in their hand because, honestly, it's one hand washes the other. And people watch out for each other that way. Plain and simple. So what do we have here? We have her extremely entitled. Oh, yeah, and the next morning, when the police do run into her, what do we have? We have her extremely drunk the next day, even when they do run like her blood alcohol level. Like, so she's even over the limit, like hours and hours after the fact. So yeah, she was definitely plastered driving down the road during a winter storm in Canton. Smart. DUI could have killed someone, but no. Her supporters don't give a shit about that. So what happens? So she backs up into John O'Keefe, clips him. At the same time, breaks the tail light. And then she just drives away. But what happens? She's pissed. So what does she start doing? Starts calling him up. Leaving these messages. I mean, just going in on him, calling him all kinds of horrible things, right? Because she's pissed. So she clips him. Does she think he's dead? No. She just figured, okay, whatever. Clipped him. He's fine. But now she's upset because he's not answering the phone. She thinks that he's ignoring her now. So now she's really upset. So now she's sitting there just going crazy on him, right? Okay, remember, like, this is like, what, 12:30? Oh, no, in between 12:30 and 1 o'clock in the morning. So, like, what, like 12:40 or something? Okay. So this is important. It's this before, a little before 1 o'clock in the morning. So she's just going in on him with these messages, with these, like, calls, right? Because she's not thinking. She's drunk and she's going haywire. And we really don't know if she's got a history of doing this kind of stuff. And honestly, if she's doing this, if she's leaving these messages like this at 45 years old, you know that she's been leaving messages like this for other people in the past as well. You know that she's gone crazy on other ex-boyfriends in the past. Plain and simple. Remember, we don't have ex-boyfriends coming out saying that she was a great woman and a great partner and stuff. We don't have that. And the defense isn't going to bring out people who are going to say that she was a crazy person or nuts or abusive to an ex-boyfriend. The defense is not going to be pushing that information out there. And the prosecution, they're not really allowed to do that. So, and remember, right now we got mostly everything from the defense. The whole story. So, you know, she's driving around. She drives home to his house, right? This is where it gets a little bit strange, and if you look at it too. What was there, like 17 or 7 or something? Ring videos that were deleted out of the system from that night? Okay. So if the state, if the police deleted these Ring videos, right? Why would they leave the one Ring video of her backing up into John O'Keefe, into his vehicle in the driveway? Why? They wouldn't. That's the one that they would have deleted right then and there. The one that actually shows her backing up into a vehicle. You know, because then without that video, it's like, hey, you got no proof that you backed up in anything. You know, dude, you got damage on the back of this vehicle. You got no proof that you backed up in anything. You know, you back up into his vehicle in the driveway. And remember, no taillight was found in John O'Keefe's driveway. It was found by his body and in the roadway, but not next to his body. Kind of strange, huh? But who had access? Well, the niece says that Karen Reed had access to the ring footage. So if she had access to the ring footage, she's probably the one, Karen Reed, is probably the one who deleted the video footage. And why would she? Because obviously when she came in, she was afraid that it was going to show a broken taillight. Maybe she staged John O'Keefe's car out there to back up into it. Because remember something about Karen Reed. Her supporters, including Turtle Boy, claim that she is the smartest person that they've ever met. She's brilliant. Oh my God, is she intelligent? Okay. So if this woman is so intelligent, are you trying to say that she's not smart enough to try to... not smart enough to, like, try to plant an alibi? A theory of what happens? Because remember, John O'Keefe's not answering his phone. And realistically, all we know is that she backed up into the vehicle around 5. She claimed she backed up into the vehicle around like 5 in the morning. So between 12:45 in the morning and around 5 a.m. Remember, that's just a couple hours. We have an individual who her supporters are saying that she's brilliant. We have an individual who's on edge, who's leaving crazy messages. We don't know if she took her vehicle out again looking for, back to the house in Canton. We don't know if she took we don't know if she took John O'Keefe's vehicle. There's speculation that she took a vehicle, I think it was John O'Keefe's, back to the Albert's house. If she did, and there is speculation that she knew he was in the yard. So that speculation basically what I think happened, because you got the speculation. I think that what she did is she got pissed off that he wasn't answering. Maybe she waited until around 3 o'clock in the morning. She possibly could have waited till 3 o'clock in the morning and took John O'Keefe's car, his SUV out there. Or maybe her own SUV. Drove out there and parked right next to where the body was found. And maybe she was sitting there for a little while with the vehicle off. And maybe she saw John O'Keefe laying there, stone cold in the snow. Maybe when the plow truck driver decided not to go down that road because he saw whatever kind of vehicle he claimed to see. I think he also claimed to be colorblind too. And during that night, the snow plow driver also hit like a basketball hoop like on the side of the road. So he's not really paying attention to what's on yards. But he probably did not go down that road because he saw a vehicle in front of that house. That vehicle could have been Karen Reed looking at John O'Keefe. Could it not be? So what happens? She sees him dead. She drives back to his house. And this is when she decides to actually plan and actually think about what happens. Do we have her phone records to see if she called anyone? No, we don't have her phone records to see if she called anyone. We only have the, voicemails because we have John O'Keefe's information. We don't know if she called her parents. We don't know if she called anyone that she knows in law enforcement. We don't know this because we don't have access to her phone records. We meaning us, the people. Who knows if the state does? Who knows if it's protected for client, whatever. Client privilege, client attorney privilege. So what do we have? What do we have? Okay. We have her seeing John O'Keefe in the yard. We have her going back to his house. That's probably when she deleted all of the Ring cameras. And what does she leave? She leaves the one of her backing up into his vehicle in the driveway with hers. And why is this so telling? Remember, she's intoxicated. She's trying to cover up the fact that she just killed him, or she believes that she killed him. So she thinks that she just killed her boyfriend a couple hours prior. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to back up in his car. That way, I have damage to where I hit him. Smart. Very smart. Then she goes looking for him. But what does she do? She gets the number from her niece, calls up, meets with these people, and they're all going to go looking for him. At a little bit after 5 o'clock in the morning. Why? Ask yourself this. Why? Okay. We're going to get to that. So, they go looking, and as soon as they pull up, Karen Reed happens to be the first person to see him and starts going crazy about it. She runs out there, holding him, hugging him. Okay. And then she asks one of the people with her, can you look up how long to die in the cold? Why? Why is she looking up why does she want it looked up how long to die in the cold? Because she knows she clipped him. She knew she hit him around 12:45 in the morning. It's now a little bit after 5 in the morning. That's why Karen Reed wants to know how long to die in the cold. Because she knows she hit him, and she knows that he's dead. Was he dead? No. He wasn't dead. And that right there shows why the people in the house, why the police officer who owns the house, and I believe there was a nurse there that night for a little while too. Dude. Anyone who's worked in law enforcement or knows anyone in law enforcement understands something. Something pretty simple. If you get into a fight, if you're a law enforcement officer and you get into a fight with another law enforcement officer, or at a party, at another law enforcement's house or whatever, you don't call 911. If John O'Keefe got beat up inside the house, they're not going to drag him out and throw him on the front lawn. Number one, he was still fully alive and had a pulse when they supposedly did this as soon as he walked in the house. As soon as he walked in the house, they said he got assaulted. So, they're not going to throw him on the lawn, alive especially. What they're going to do is, if he needed medical attention, they would have actually shoved him in a vehicle, brought him down to the hospital, brought him to the emergency room. And by being a police officer, you got that thin blue line, which means that he would have just taken his lumps because he would have deserved it, and it would have been over and done with. It would have been like a domestic violence situation where the woman says, I fell down the stairs. He would have claimed he fell down the stairs. And if Colin Albert would have beat him up, it would have been, I fell down the stairs, plain and simple. Or what they would have done is they would have loaded him up in a vehicle and brought him to his house. That's how police operate. You're not going to take someone who's been beat up or whatever and throw him on your front lawn to die of hypothermia. Because especially you're not going to leave them with their cell phone because let's just say he comes to, because remember, John O'Keefe was not dead on the front lawn. He was alive. So What happens if he calls 911 on his cell phone, and all of a sudden, police, fire, ambulance shows up. Next thing you know, everyone in that house is going away for attempted murder. Hello? Hello? Or is it common sense that a cop is going to throw another cop on his front lawn to die of hypothermia? When everyone in law enforcement, anyone that knows law enforcement understands that nothing would have happened over John O'Keefe getting his ass whooped inside of a house. He wasn't dead. He was drunk. And if anything, they would have claimed he was the aggressor because he was intoxicated. Right? Ask anyone who you know who's a member of law enforcement how that operates. Because that's just how it is. Okay? But, and here's the main thing is, here's how you know that Karen Reed, this brilliant, intelligent woman, this college professor of what business? She tried too hard. She tried too hard. And how can we say she tried too hard? Anyone knows if you go to an after party like that and you're drinking, a lot of times you're just going to crash on someone's couch. It's just what happens, right? Two cops partying, okay, whatever, crash on the couch or call up and get a ride. Okay, well. So what Karen Reed wants people to believe is that after 1 o'clock in the morning, she gets home, she goes to sleep, which would have been passed out. You're not going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning if you pass out at 1. You're just not. And if you do, you're not going to wonder, oh, where is he? Because you're going to know that you dropped him off at a party. He never called you up, which means he's probably spending the night. It's just a fact. It's just how things happened. But Karen Reed had driven over there and seen his body in the front lawn. So she freaked out and she's like this, I need to put together an alibi. I need to put together what happened in order so I don't get in trouble for hitting him. So what happens? Deletes the Ring videos, backs up into the vehicle, calls people up to go looking for him at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's the big thing at 5 o'clock in the morning. We're not talking about 8 o'clock in the morning. We're not talking about 9 or noon. We're talking about a couple hours after she drops him off. Before the sun comes up. Remember, before the sun comes up. Before anyone else can see him on that front lawn. She wants to get people together to find him. She wants people with her to find him. She didn't want to find him alone. You get that? She didn't want to find him alone. So she brought people with her as witnesses to see how she acted, how she reacted. But the problem is, she's too smart for her own good. Because doing that makes no sense. It shows that she's trying way too hard. And why is she trying way too hard? Because yes, she's smart. But she's also intoxicated. Which means she can't really function mentally the greatest. So yes. And then what does she do? They up the charges. Which freaks her out again. She hires the big leagues for her attorneys. And her attorneys are telling her, we need to turn the public against the police. We need to make this a public case. So, what does she do? She reaches out to people, bloggers, and she reaches out to Turtle Boy. Someone who everyone knows wants to break the big stories, but none of the media pays any attention to him. He wants to break stories. John O'Keefe probably read his blogs, so Karen Reed knew about him. And Karen Reed contacts him. Okay, they're in contact through Signal Messenger app, right? He's telling everyone that he has no contact at all with her when he does. So he's lying to his supporters in order to get everyone to support Karen Reed. And what happens? It goes to his head. Next thing you know, he's making a ton of money for the first time in his life. So what does he do? He buys the same SUV as she has, as hers. And then he keeps on talking. Me and Karen Reed are going to be rich. We're going to be rich and famous. We're going to be rich and famous. Me and Karen Reed. They created a monster out of Turtle Boy. Karen Reed did. To help with her cover-up. And that right there blew up in her face too, because now there's a good chance that she's going to go away for witness intimidation as well, or be charged with it, depending on how her trial goes. Along with Turtle Boy. This whole case turned into a circus, plain and simple. And if you look at it, what should have happened? Oh, yeah. And then we have to get into the little fact of Karen Reed admitted to hitting him. And then her story kept on changing when she did interviews with national magazines and national this, national that. It kept on changing. She's even claimed that she didn't remember dropping him off there, which shows how intoxicated she really was. So at the end of the day, she should have just, I think she hit him by accident. She should have just admitted to hitting him by accident. She should have admitted to saying that she was intoxicated. She hit him. It was a horrible accident. She loves him. She loved him. She should have called 911 after she hit him. Or after she found him at 3 o'clock in the morning on the front lawn. She should have just called 911. But instead, she was so worried about covering for herself. The whole time, all she cares about is herself. And John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer, is dead because of Karen Reed. Because she hit him, and then because she didn't call 911. Plain and simple. That's why they're going after her for the charge that they're going after her for, is because she hit him, she was intoxicated, and she covered it up. And then she turned into a huge circus. It's sad at the end of the day. But yes, I am a person who believes in corruption. I am a person who believes in conspiracies, and I am a person who really doesn't trust the Massachusetts legal system or the district attorney's office, or for the most part, local police anymore. But I do believe in this case, Karen Reed is in the wrong. And I also believe that because how she's treated this case and how she's turned into a whole circus, and how Turtle Boy has completely targeted and attacked everyone in the case, including the district attorney's office, that's all going to blow back on Karen Reed. And I have a feeling that Karen Reed is going to get, they're going to get their pound of flesh off of her, because honestly, she started this whole circus. She was the conductor of it. Okay, well, probably forgot a bunch. Definitely forgot some. So I'm going to be going to work pretty soon. Going to post this up tonight, and I'm going to listen to the hearings from today on that work. Maybe I'll do a video tomorrow, depending on what I hear. Once again, author, Emotion and Political Repression. Book detailing the corruption in Hampden County, Massachusetts, when I attempted to run for Congress back in the day. Hey, have a good night, and hopefully this made you think a little bit.